Everyday girls, where you at? Holla if you hear me. Everyday girls, strike a pose now if you with me. Everyday girls, where you at? Holla if you hear me. Strike a pose now, let get lit. Everyday girls, where you at? Holla if you hear me. Everyday girls, strike a pose now, let get lit. What we gotta say might be different, but we be really out here every day, trying to live it up. We just set the tone and we switch it out the blue. Show up every 24, that's just what we do. Said you need a break, so sister, here's your invitation. We just made it, catch a little phase for your meditation. Let me do it. Everyday girls, where you at? Holla if you hear me. Everyday girls, strike a pose now, let get lit. What we gotta say might be different, but we be really out here every day, trying to live it up. What we doing? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let me do it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. What we doing?
Welcome back to Everyday Girls, where girls just want to laugh, love well, and adventure through life with a soul sister if all else fails.
Look at you knowing the tagline.
I know.
Just your attempt to not be stiff.
Kristen told me I needed to not be stiff, so I'm just trying to be myself. I'm trying to be myself.
Welcome back to Everyday Girls.
I'm trying to be myself, and then I get ghetto.
Okay, embrace that. So on the last episode, we mentioned about how things have come full circle in our friendship, where when we first became friends, it was kind of me introducing her to the friend group that I had at the time. And now I'm so blessed to know her friend group. And obviously, over the years, friends fall off.
They come and go.
And
we were just talking about how it's a real blessing to have a 12-year friendship.
And I have friends that I've been friends with for even longer than her, like for, almost 25 years, one of my friendships. But, you know, even with a friendship like that, you don't always stay close. You might be friends and then you might not talk for a couple years, and it's no hard feelings or anything, but you just grow apart. Seasons, reasons, lifetimes. Mm-hmm. One of my very close friends, I'm not friends with anymore. And how, like, I've had to mourn that friendship over the years, and it has been very difficult. I was really bitter about it at one point.
I think it's really important to talk about the loss of adult friendships, just because people don't talk about it. I think we're in a culture where we have cutoff spirit and we have cancel culture and we have ghosting. So if you have a falling out with somebody, the natural thing to do is want to appear like tough about it. Like, I didn't need them.
Right.
Really, it's like, no, well, you have feelings about it. So tell us about whatever details you want to offer in the situation. You know she ain't watching, so.
We were super close. We met in high school. It was one of those authentic connections, and we just clicked. And so as the years rolled by, she would come over my house. I would go over her house. We became family. We got to a point where we called each other sis. Like, she was just a part of my family. If there was a family function, everybody knew she was going to be there. I think in college, when we were falling off, I was trying to hang on and she was trying to hang on, but we were kind of growing apart already. Without a major event happening, we were just growing apart, and it was hard. And she would get her feelings hurt sometimes. Most of the time I would get my feelings hurt, because we were making new friends. We were having new experiences, and I think jealousy arose for sure. But the ultimate thing that broke up our friendship was her joining a different religion that basically changed her entire lifestyle. And she was, I thought I was feeling emotional, and then I realized that emotion was anger. I think I'm mad at her blaming or allowing a religion to dictate that, just because I'm so strong in my faith. And I feel like I have a lot of different friends from a lot of different backgrounds, and I'm just that type of friend that's open to be friends with everybody with different experiences. Even when she decided that she was going to go over to this different religion, I completely supported her. I wanted to know more about it. I wanted to embrace her still.
Right.
But I feel like she lost who she was, and no shade to the religion, which is why I'm not gonna bring it up. But she then, as I'm trying to be her friend, every time I would talk to her, it would be like a conversion. She would be like trying to convert me and almost like judging or saying just horrible things about me. Not just me, the people that were in my family, the people that were also in my friend circle. I was trying to stay connected. I remember one year I texted on her birthday. What's a birthday? We don't celebrate that. And no shade to that. But okay, you ain't got to be mean to me though. I'm just trying to. And so that was a whole different thing.
And also, don't act like we don't have this 20-year history of telling each other happy birthday. Don't erase our past.
Which is why I feel like it's more cultish and mind warping than religion. I don't know, but that's my judgment on them.
So what I heard you say is you accepted her new, journey of this spirituality. However, you don't feel like it was necessary for her to let that dictate the relationship that y'all share.
Not only the relationship that we share, but who she is as a person. Like, I really want to emphasize, if it's God, it's enhancing who you are as a person. And yes, it is a form of taking on God's characteristics and all of that, but God made us who we are. So whatever our purpose is, or whenever we are trying to get closer to him or the entity of God, whatever, if it's right, it's going to enhance. And this is strictly my opinion. This is what I feel. It stripped her of not just who she was, but a personality. Her personality became that religion.
If she came back today and said, Kristen, I was going through something. This was a different season of my life.
No.
Oh, you didn't even let me finish.
Because I need to get to the main point, which is when my cousin committed suicide, my 18-year-old cousin, I reached out to her as a courtesy to just tell her. And a lot of my friends that I have like long history with, and even though we weren't close, I just felt like that's something she would want to know.
Because she was family,
she
not
was
just
family.
a friend.
She was family. She used to help me babysit this person. And when I did that, her response, y'all, was so cold. I can't go into it because I will get emotional. I got really angry, and I cussed her out, and then I blocked her.
Well, okay, so is it okay for me? Okay, since you can't, because I think they will want to know, like, what she say, so I just don't want to leave them off with that cliffhanger. But if I remember correctly, I think you told her what happened, and then she wanted details of how it happened, right?
Right. It was.
Sorry to make you go into.
No, it's okay. That helped. She was like, "Oh, was he depressed?"
Right. It was too cold-hearted, based in her wanting to know the facts.
You never said, "Oh, I'm sorry."
There was no
loss.
empathy shown.
There was nothing.
Okay.
At that point, I realized there could be no lingering relationship. There could be no, "Hey, how you doing?" There could be no, "How are you?" checking in. At that point, I realized it was over, and it was and I was obviously very, very low and depressed. And I feel like for something to make me sadder and angrier, it doesn't belong. So it had to be cut off. And I think I was mourning up until that point. I was mourning the friendship, and even with the hopes that maybe like we may be able to meet up if we hadn't seen each other in years. But after that, there's no coming back from that. And it ain't because I'm not forgiving or nothing like that. It's just because that is a boundary that I don't even, even if she came back to apologize, okay, thank you, I accept.
I got you. Okay, well, she messed that up.
Well, what would you say from your perspective? Like, I know you were along the ride for that. How was that from you, from watching a friend go through the mourning of a friendship?
It was difficult to see you in pain, and it was difficult to see you lose a connection that you treasured and that meant so much to you. And so that was hard to watch your up and down daily struggles with it. And I have a thing about seeing you in any kind of pain. Yeah. And especially seeing you cry. Like, I crumble into itty bitty pieces when you are feeling lowly about anything. What ended up happening was I took on your anger for it too. So now I hate her.
Fine with me.
If I'm not being petty about it, I know what she meant to you.
Truth be told, my stuff is still rooted in pain. It's still rooted in a little bit of unforgiveness, but I'm not there yet, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, and I really feel like I started to grieve her as well after that. Like, that was like the last straw. Have you ever mourned a friendship or mourned a relationship? Why are you looking like that?
If somebody brings out the worst in you, you know that you're not supposed to be in relationship with that person. And I feel like when I speak about this person, it brings out the very worst in me. If you want to know what that's rooted in, I think I just still don't get it.
I just want to say, you're not supposed to get it. If you're not supposed to understand things that don't make sense,
right? But also, I think I'm like a very like closure type of person,
right?
And so with that particular situation, I feel like it's just still so many unanswered questions. I had a friend who I loved. I was really close to her. Kristen didn't like her. That's just what it was. From the time that I became friends with this girl, Kristen was like, nope, not it. I get weird vibes. Something about this person doesn't sit right with my spirit. And I'm like, what you mean? Like, that's my girl. That is my friend. Like, sticking up for her and just kind of saying, like,
I tried too. You
did. You gave it a chance, and I appreciated that. But I was just like, give her a chance. Like, you don't even know her. Hang out with us. I like her for a reason. I just had a good time with her. But a lesson that came from that is, just because you have a good time with a person does not make them your lifelong friend. It's okay to compartmentalize your friends. Like, I got a friend that I tell everything to. Have friends that I would rather talk to about business and professional stuff. Every friend doesn't have to be everything to you.
Exactly.
And I think that's where I got it twisted. I wanted to make her my everything friend, and that was not supposed to be the role that she had in my life in that season. I was dating this guy. I really liked him, and she knew that. Well, at the same time, apparently I found out in the aftermath that this guy liked me, but also liked her. And so he was very calculated in orchestrating environments where he knew I would bring her along.
Filthy. Just filthy.
Very filthy. At the time, I was a super, super, super J. Cole fan, and he got me J. Cole concert tickets. He got 4 tickets, and he said, here, you can bring a friend, bring 2 friends along. And at this time, I was hanging out with her super heavy, so I know that he knew I would bring her along. What I want to accept about the situation is that I didn't pick up on the red flags. Right, I was naive. I didn't pick up on the signs, and it was very evident that he was interested in this girl, because he would ask me questions about her career. What does she do? Or I do something similar. Maybe you can connect us. Like, and I'm just dumb. Like, dumb.
Well, I think it's not dumb. I just think that you are that's so far removed from who you are that you can't even fathom that somebody else would be that calculated to be so evil. Okay. So it's not dumb.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I got your back.
You got my dumb ass back. I ended up finding out on Facebook that
I'm boiling.
I ended up finding on Facebook that they had been hanging out and went on a date. And apparently, like, on their first date, they made a bet, and whoever lost the bet had to post to their Facebook the other person or something silly. So I saw it on Facebook, and I was just confused. I think that was my first feeling about it. Like, what's going on? This couldn't be what I think it is.
Right.
It couldn't be, because that's my girl. She wouldn't do that to me. And, like, it couldn't be. So let me clear it up. So then when I called her is when confusion turned to enraged. Mm-hmm. Because when I called her, like, what is this? Like, what am I seeing? What can you explain what's going on? She's like, well, I mean, y'all aren't official anyway. It's not that serious. It's not that deep. Like, downplaying
the fact that she went out with somebody she knew you was dating.
Right. And so all I remember is blacking out and, like, just screaming into the phone. So yeah, it had to be about 6 years ago, and that's how I handled things back then. When I black out, I feel my blood rising, and I just started screaming. Like, you couldn't even make out the words I was saying, because that's how upset I was. It wasn't about him, and I feel like a lot of our mutual friends try to make it about a boy, and that's not what it was about. It was about the betrayal. It was about the lack of communication. It was about the lack of respect for me. Like, did you care about me and how this would affect the relationship that I thought we had? You didn't. You had no regard for that. And so I think that was what I was most upset about. And also how she handled it. Like, no accountability, no apology.
Well, she gaslighted you.
Right.
She gaslighted you to make it feel like you was tripping.
Right.
And I just think because of the type of friend you are, like you said, it wasn't about the boy. That part hurt, yes.
Yes.
But you are a friend person. You are a person who makes your friends your family.
Let me elaborate on that. I take my friendships probably more seriously than I take any other relationship. And I remember when she was gaslighting me and saying all the reasons, she said, well, you haven't really been supporting anything that I do lately. And that was you don't remember that?
No.
I'll never forget it because it was a slap in the face, because we talked about this last episode. At that time, if I could make it, I was there at everybody's everything. So then she just started lying because
right.
That's not, I don't have a friend that can say I don't support them.
You get to questioning yourself when you trust somebody. So you at this point trust her. You love her. You know,
I loved her.
You love her. So her saying this stuff to you, you questioning like, hold on, man, did I not? Like, that's typical narcissist gaslighting behavior. And I just feel like we don't talk about narcissists in friendships enough. Like,
right,
it be happening. It's just as bad as a relationship sometimes. And watching you go through that was very hard, but I gotta admit the relief I felt. And the thing is, this is the other thing, the kicker. She dropped Marcy as a friend. This fool was actually willing to forgive and work through it a little bit. Mm-hmm. She decided, oh, this is too much stress or some BS that she said.
Right.
And I was angry for you and who I know you are. That was a hard one.
That was a hard one, and honestly, I still struggle with it.
Like, you never got the closure that you were looking for or an apology, but that's also like that expectation we have of people sometimes to be us, and people are just not. And she probably hasn't lost any sleep over that. The place that you are now, and before talking about this today, I feel like we haven't talked about it in a while, but I feel like you've wished her the best and expressed that you have no ill feelings. I do think you had to mourn that, and I think it was a lesson to you that everybody is just not kind. And I feel like you always, one thing I love about you is that you always see the best in people. That's not like you trying to do that. That's just naturally when you see somebody, you can find a compliment. That's just who you are. Right. That's why your photography and people come back to you because of the way that they feel when they leave, because you pull out their light. Charlie's Light Photography. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. If I could say one thing that was good that came out of that was, I feel like that was when I realized everybody is not my friend and I need to be pickier with who I let in my life. And there is definitely a benefit to having a close, tight-knit circle. And so she was the reason why anybody who came after her and tried to form a friendship, I just was like vetting the hell out of them. Mm-hmm. So I think I can attribute that situation to just having more discernment with who I become close with.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I like that. I'm glad it saved me a lot of stress, because I felt like I had to be her gauge of just people in general. Mm-hmm. And I'm just a protector naturally. Of anybody who I love, but I'm especially a protector of her because I feel like she just spills her light all over, and just like some people don't deserve it. Some people don't deserve what you have to offer. It's not for everybody, and if they want some of your light, they can watch Everyday Girls.
This is a question that I need to ask because I feel like it's just been an overarching thing that comes up in my life sometimes. But do you feel like men and women can have platonic friendships, 1,000% platonic, no romantic feelings toward each other whatsoever? What are your thoughts?
Well, I had a lot of male platonic friends, but I also had a lot of male friends with a couple benefits.
Okay.
Terrence was one of them. Mm-hmm. But I feel like I was still young, so I would like even extend that question and say in adulthood.
Okay.
While in a serious relationship with somebody. You know, like,
what do you think?
I think yes, but that's only because of you. Like, I've seen, like, for super platonic friendship, you and Bahati. Mm-hmm. that is there's no denying y'all aren't like fake friends or like, oh, my brother. That's actually your real friend.
And my real friends, my real family. Shout out to Bahati. But even with Bahati, people have asked me, like,
y'all assume. That's because some people cannot do that. And I truly believe it's customized to each individual. Like, now, do I have a platonic male friend that I pick up the phone and call and say whatever? That's not like my actual real brother, that I'm not friends with their wife or their significant other? No.
Right.
Like, I can, but I'm not kicking it. We not calling. We not going out alone together.
It depends on the person, and it depends on your circumstance. But
how do you navigate, like, Bahati got married, or, you know, like, how do you navigate that as a friend?
That's a really good question. So Bahati is not my only male platonic friend. I have Vasilis. I have Le'Aaron.
Le'Aaron gay.
Le'Aaron gay.
He proud.
Le'Aaron definitely is gay. How do I navigate it? I've had to adjust out of respect. Like, there was a time when I could call Bahati at 2-3 in the morning just to talk. I don't do that anymore out of respect. I'm just a respectable person in that aspect. And so I also understand what the institute of marriage is. And I know that he's married now and his wife comes first. I don't think it was a hard adjustment for me, though. Because
no, it wasn't. It was natural for you.
It's definitely natural. And I just love him. I respect him. I respect his wife. And Bahati's no different from one of my brothers. You know what I mean?
Right,
so
right.
It wasn't a hard navigation or adjustment once he got married. It just is what it is. I think on the flip side, I could say, had it been a hard adjustment for me, I might have to ask myself, why is this a hard adjustment for you? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's a good way to gauge.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Platonic friendships and your
I got to
feelings.
ask you something else, too.
Sure.
So when you get married, and let's just say your husband to be has female friends, that's been his friends, and then what would you feel about them calling late or them having their own personal friendship? Like, how do you feel about that?
So I would never ask anybody to do anything that I wasn't willing to do. So like I just said, I had to adjust out of respect for my friends' marriages, and so I would expect them to do the same thing.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I definitely wouldn't have a problem with him having female friends as I have male friends. And anybody who's going to become my husband or in a serious relationship with me, off the bat knows I don't play about my boys. Like, they were here first. That's my family. And if you come into my life, you're coming into my life with them, and you're coming into their lives, and we gonna all be friends.
And they would have already known about it beforehand.
Exactly. And I would give him that same respect. And so, yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I just would ask for the same respect that I would give.
I know there's so many instances where wives, because of their own insecurity, like, sometimes they don't even have to have a reason. Like, they don't even see no red flags. They don't even see anything that's inappropriate. They just don't want their husband being buddy with another woman. And that's hard to come into a marriage and have to cut off a friend. Because I know, like, when I had a male friend who got married. I went to his wedding. Me and Terrence actually went to his wedding. But after he got married, we stopped talking. Like, and not like if I hit him up today, we could probably have a conversation, but I could tell that she wasn't for that.
I got you.
And she just wasn't. And he didn't make an announcement, or he didn't say like, nah, G, we can't be. He didn't do all that. He adjusted, period. Like, it went how it went. And I never had any hard feelings. You still mourn that, though. You mourn that. If you were real, true friends, you mourn it, period.
If you were real, true friends, you mourn it. But if you're also real, true friends, it's like that unspoken thing of like, we are on the same page.
I respect you.
I don't have any hard feelings. And one thing I really like about you is that you can read the room like that. Like, he didn't say anything. She didn't say anything, but you picked up on, okay, we're going to have to adjust here. So
let's talk about reading the room.
Woo!
I just wanted to say a lot of people can't read the room.
I think it's a very rare thing to be able to read a room.
Why though?
I don't know, because when you're a person who can read the room, you look at people who can't, like, hello.
Right. But see, I feel like there's a balance. There's a people who can read the room and not go too far off the deep end, but then I feel like there's people who's constantly worried about everybody's every thought and feeling about everything, to the point that it restricts them from being who they are
reading
or
the
saying,
room, reading too deep into the room.
Yes.
Yeah.
How did we get here?
I don't know. Conversation flowing.
Have you ever done that?
I don't know if I've ever been one to read too deep into the room. I'm just at that middle level. Like, I can read a room, I can be in a situation and just fill it out and pick up on vibes and pick up on what people are doing and how, you know what I mean? Like, you can tell if it's tension in the room. And I think that comes with just like an awareness thing and just experience. I don't know.
And maturity.
Experience, maturity. You
have
have to be able to read the room, though. If you don't know if you're a person that can read the room, figure that out.
I feel like I used to not be able to read the room.
Really?
And only in the sense that I wasn't reading what other people's reactions or feelings or what state of mind they was in if I had something to say. Like, looking back, I feel so bad. I feel like it's so many. It's just, let me just get this blanket apology if you were ever a victim of me not being able to read the room. But like, just being aware of the room could be small. The room could be you and your husband. If you got something to say, you need to read. Is this a good time? Is this a good time? Is something good gonna come out of this? Is this gonna be productive?
That's an excellent question to ask. Do you have the mental capacity to even take on what I want to talk to you about? If now is not a good time, let me know when. I had a friend. Have a friend? I don't really know where we stand, but something told her that it was a good idea to come to me and tell me that she didn't like Kristen. I'm bringing this up because she couldn't read a room. This is an example. Came to me and told me that she did not like Kristen. That wasn't the issue. Everybody don't have to like Kristen. Everybody does not have to like everybody. I can respect it if somebody doesn't like my best friend. The issue was when I asked her why. Why don't you like Kristen? What happened? And you know what she said? I don't actually know. I don't know if I have a reason. I don't even know why I just said that.
Okay, let me just say, I understand that because I have felt that way about somebody else before. Like, I have felt a vibe from somebody and I just didn't. The girl you was just talking about, for example, I didn't have a solid reason or incident that happened as to why I didn't care for her or knew that she wasn't the type of person that I wanted to be in relationship with. I just didn't.
Okay, but that's a reason. Why don't you like her? Because some about her spirit don't sit well with me. I don't really like the vibes that she's giving up. She gives off snake vibe. That's a reason. But don't sit here and tell me you don't like my best friend without a reason.
This happened around the time for me where I was first coming into being more aware of myself and caring more about people's feelings and where they at and all the things we were just talking about. This came at a time like that. So I'm like, dang, she don't. I would have never guessed that. I actually really like her. What happened? What did I do? Well, let me call her and address it, because one thing about me, unless she said don't say nothing, I'm gonna say something.
Kristen is gonna call. She ain't just gonna send a text like normal people.
I called her and I was like, I wanted to reach out because if there was ever anything that I did to offend you or that I'm not aware of because of this new person that I'm becoming, I don't remember everything that I said and did back then, which was probably maybe some wild, rude, direct, bold, hurtful. I don't know. I don't remember. This is around the time where I was coming into awareness of myself. So it was important to me that if anybody I hurt or felt a way about me because of something that I said or did before I started to evolve, that they know, you know what, I'm sorry. I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm being more aware and conscious of people's feelings, blah, 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 blah. And then when we were on the phone, this is when I got irritated. Actually, I do like you. I don't even know why I said that. That's not even true. You just wanted some attention. I don't know. All these things we're talking about is just to give y'all some clear examples of the things that we've overcome and dealt with in our friendship. Not to knock any of these people, which is why we're not going to use names, which is why it doesn't matter who they are, and which is why I know both of us, even though she didn't really say this, we wish them all the best in whatever their endeavors are. Right? Don't we?
No, we do. We do. I mean, we're good people, and so we're just addressing it. And like you said, it's not to open up old wounds or to put these people on the spot. It's just to share our experiences, and these are our experiences.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Moral of the story, learn how to read a room if you don't.
Learn how to read a room. Okay, I want to give our everyday girl shout out.
Okay.
I want to shout out my mom. Me and my mom went through a super rough patch earlier this year, that we have overcome and since become closer. And my mom is just, I really love her. She's one of my favorite people. I don't want to talk about it too much. I ain't trying to cry right now, but I will say that I'm thankful for her forgiveness. I'm thankful that she has grown enough and ventured even in her 53 years of living to still decide I want to grow and I want to be a better person, not just for me but for my kids and for my grandkids. And that's somebody who I want to be like. So Mom, shout out to you for being an everyday girl first, and then for making me an everyday girl.
I love that. Just keeping up with the theme of what we talked about, I want to shout out my friend Ariel. And the reason is I've given so many examples of these friends I've had these problems with and these issues with. And me and Ariel have had our fair share of challenges in our friendship, but we always make it. We always persist, and we always come out on the top of those things instead of letting it cause a demise in our friendship. And so I just want to
Ariel,
show her that I'm appreciative of her, because one thing about Ariel, she's committed to the growth and the self-work. And we were just talking to her about some issues that she's had across the board in her friendships, and Kristen asked her, like, what do you think that is? And she was like, me, the common denominator, which was hilarious. But she just wants to be better, do better, and be a good friend, and I see her for that. And to me, that's an everyday girl. So my shout out is going out to Ariel.
Oh, that was great.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching our very second episode. We hope that you enjoyed it, and tune in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and comment. Give us feedback, and don't forget to ask us a question of advice or give us a scenario that you want us to talk about.
See y'all next time on
Bye-bye.
Everyday Girl.